Spear, welcome to Head on Fire. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. You look so festive and fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It jingles.
I love it.
It jingles.
I need the whimsy. I needed the whimsy.
Yeah, I did too. Thank you so much for being here on my show to help me close out the year. When this comes out, it's like Christmas week,
Fun.
which is, yes, yeah,
Love.
very festive, very timely, very end of year. So I thought it would be really fun to do like a year-end recap, a roundup of the madness that was 2025, which felt it was the decade-iest of years.
It surely was, and I can't believe it's only been a year.
It's not even a full 12 months.
No,
it's not yet.
It's too much. It's too much.
But V, before we get into the madness that was 2025, 12 people that might be listening to my show that for some reason don't also know who you are. Could you introduce who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. So I'm V Spear. I'm the host and creator of Under the Desk News, which you can find on all your social media channels. And we call it a soft place to land in a hard news cycle. So
that I don't think I've ever heard that tagline from you. I love that.
We just came out with that. It's brand new. You might be hearing it here first for the first time. Yeah, it used to be the day's news and events in a kind way from a safe space. So we've just sort of updated it a little bit because I'm not always as nice anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I get a little sassy with the news these days.
Have you chosen like an opposite of the banana shirt?
I should.
You should. You should choose like a
Pete Hegseth. I should put on something, that allows me to people know that there'll maybe be some swear words in that episode.
How did you get your start doing news?
Honestly, I just felt like there was a hole in the information.
Haven't we all felt like there was a hole?
Yeah, and I see a hole, fill a hole. That's me. You know,
absolutely.
Any hole will do. That's just, I see it and I'm like, I got to get in there.
Got to get in there.
So I put on a suit, got under my desk and explained the 25th Amendment to Mike Pence on January 6th. That was my very first news video. And then it kind of went more into like civics. And then it was just talking about Biden's first 100 days and whatnot. And here we are, like nearly 5 years later.
I am so glad that we're here 5 years later. You're one of my favorite people. Can I just ask, because a lot of people have said a lot of things about you, what is your favorite conspiracy theory about you?
That I don't actually live in Rochester.
Really?
Yes, it's my favorite one because it's the most ridiculous one. And people really went hard on it. They were like, V doesn't actually live in Rochester. They actually live in California at their parents'. And I was like, first of all, I grew up in Connecticut. My parents live in Florida. I certainly do not live with them. I haven't since I was like 17. I love them. They're lovely people. But then in there, they were like, yeah, we went to high school together and this and that. And I'm like, I am 42 years old. Okay. None of you went to school with me. None of you on TikTok went to school with me. And it's just so funny to me. That's my favorite one. They're like, no, you pretend to be from Rochester because it makes you more relatable, but you're not. And I'm like, nobody lies about that.
I will say one of the tiny blessings of growing up in a town of 585 people is that like there really aren't that many people to go in the comments and be like, I grew up with him. Like nobody's claiming that.
People were claiming that straight up didn't grow up with me. The people who grew up with me are like, look, I'm glad that V got out of this little town, so we're gonna leave him be. I luckily haven't had anybody from high school or any ex-girlfriends or anything come back to like say anything bad about me. So I feel good about that.
That's good. And honestly, there are worse conspiracy theories. So that's probably a better. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Some of them I have to look up because the things I'm accused of being, I wasn't like aware of what they were, and I was like, oh, let me go look up what that is. I'm like, oh, I'm not. Am I that? I don't think I'm that. But
have you been accused of like being an alien or a shape-changing lizard person or anything like that? Like, have they
I've
gone
been transvestigated. Yes, I've been transvestigated, and I'm like.
Me too. Oh my gosh.
We're so close.
It's a fun club.
They're like, they were born a man and this. I was like, you know what? That would have been really easy for me. I probably would have like cruised it out on that. Who doesn't want to be born a white man? A white straight man? That would have been awesome. But no, or like that I'm actually like a Republican plant sent to like make the Democrats more docile.
I do really like when people are like, oh, well, this person's clearly funded by blah, 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 blah.
No, I'm like, by the DNC.
Could I, for the love of God, get some of that, please? I would love some funding.
Girls got to eat.
I would love some funding.
It hasn't happened yet, so I don't think it will.
So Under the Desk News, everybody needs to go follow. Everybody needs to go subscribe just in case they are not. Let's talk about 2025.
Yes,
the
girl.
dumpster fire that it was. Actually, you know what? What's your take on 2025? Was it a dumpster fire? Was it a good year? How do you what's the now that we're kind of at the end of it? What's your
How
feelings
am I
about
at?
it?
So my 2025 started on November 5th, 2024. So right after the election
You do
results
so
came
much more
out.
politics than I do.
I
And
do. That's
yeah.
when I felt like 2025 started for me because I sort of had to line it up with the new administration coming in
Mhm.
and like all the new, and then that's my work, what I'd have to report on, how I'd have to center things and whatnot. So I feel like I got like summer schooled or something. I got like extra long 2025. And the year was made up of the same nonsense we could have expected it to be. But even the Trump administration has kind of run out of nonsense and they're starting to repeat things.
Uh-huh.
So when
I've
Trump
noticed it's a little strange because like they really started off, I mean, first of all, this is I don't let me just remind people. This is only his first year of his second term
I
and we aren't
know.
even done with the first 12 months yet. Like it's been a long first year and he really came out, I mean, executive order after executive order after like
Hundreds.
nonsense law after nonsense
Mhm.
law and all. And I'm a little shocked at how quickly they seem to have run out of steam.
Yeah, we're back round to the beginning again now. So we're starting at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
Mhm.
Where when he came in January, he wanted to investigate General Milley and he was going to recall him to service so he could be court martialed, right? Because General Milley had said, "We take no oath to a God, we take an oath
Mhm.
to the Constitution." Well, then in November, of course, what happens? They want to reinvestigate Captain Mark Kelly, the senator, for
Mhm.
saying we take an oath to the Constitution to know God. So I was like, wow, this is like deja vu. They're doing the exact same thing
Yeah.
again. They're threatening to recall him. And then you remember also in January, it was like the Epstein files are going to come out. Well, it's November, December, and the Epstein files are going to come out. It's like always the same. So I feel like we've circled back and circled back again and again. We're talking about the price of eggs again, right? He's like, I brought the price of groceries down. And it's like, you didn't. Nothing has happened but chaos and nonsense.
You brought up the Epstein files and it's hard to talk about like current headlines on a show like mine where we're going to be coming out like a month
Yeah.
or several weeks later, so I don't necessarily want to talk about this moment, but I do want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about maybe some trends because you did bring up that we talked about the Epstein files before. The Republicans ran on the Epstein file. Oh, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
release the Epstein files, but like they've been deep in Epstein files, Hunter's laptop,
All
all of these
that.
conspiracy theories about like secret knowledge that's
The
going to
Jewish
come out
space
as
lasers.
we're gonna get to her
Well, Jewish
too.
Jewish space lasers
Was
has now
Marjorie Taylor?
become was Marjorie Taylor
Yeah,
Greene, but his I would say like on this side, like for the redo, it's Candace Owens saying that the president of France is going to
France.
assassinate her or something. Like
Yeah,
there's always something. It's like it's the same stories over and over and over.
but we've been so. A lot of this was QAnon. A lot of this has been really right wing conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
So conservative. It's beyond conservative. Like it's just kind
Oh,
of
it's
crazy
absurd.
stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
horseshoe theory. Like
Mm-hmm.
lots of sides believe. Crazy people believe it. Anyways, it's not partisan necessarily. It's just crazy people
Yeah.
believing it. I'm interested in the journey that the Epstein files seems to have taken
Mm-hmm.
because like now the Republic like now folks
Now they're
are
like, it's a hoax. They're not
yeah.
real. What?
Well, what's your take on that? Well, I mean, obviously, yes. I mean, obviously the most obvious take is Trump is in them, Trump is all over them.
Sure.
Um and thus now that it's like time, he's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I know I said I wanted all that to come out, but like that's dumb. That was last year. That's so last week. That's so yesterday, Hillary Duff. Like,
Well, the
what's
thing
your take?
is, people are, I think, conditioned to be looking for the sex crimes. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what has been, the ethos of the Epstein files is that the Epstein files are part of this larger conspiracy by which Democrats have tunnels full of sex traffic victims underneath pizza shops. And
Pizzagate.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really this bigger idea that evil is all around us, that it's under our noses constantly, that the elite are constantly doing this. And the Epstein files is just a piece of that. But what they've done in focusing on the sex crimes is, re-traumatize a lot of the victims, which have so bravely come
Mm-hmm.
out and told their stories again and again. Um, and I think that Donald Trump thought he could survive the sex crimes part of it. But what he actually can't survive and where he's panicking now is the financial crimes tied to the Epstein enterprise. And that's where I'm very interested. And I think that we have the chance to get justice for those women and girls who were so horrifically abused and trafficked by targeting the money, because it relies less on them having to testify, endanger themselves, and whatnot, if we can get to the root of what was funding the evil, as opposed to the salacious details of the ways that they were exploited. So that's what I've been working on now. And that's where I think the Epstein files have taken a turn, is Trump was okay with everybody who's in the sex crime side getting kind of embarrassed. And he's beaten the rap for being a sexual predator and a sex pest and a creep before. So have a lot of his cronies. So they thought, oh, we'll get past this again. They cannot get past the financial crimes.
And even when he's gotten past it, like there's still, I don't know, there's a weird pass that he gets where even when it's like, yeah, he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, he did it, but like, who cares? Like, but who cares?
His base
Seems
doesn't
to be
care.
Yeah.
But the base does care about corruption, and they care about the finances. So because people are feeling that. And so I think what's going to be interesting here is the fact that he sort of gave up on it and signed, yeah, we're going to release them. What they're going to get isn't that good. But now more people are willing to fact check what he's releasing. So a lot of folks are worried there's only one copy of the files. There is not. There are multiple copies of multiple pieces of the files. The files isn't like a binder.
Right.
It's like boxes of stuff, photographs, videos, testimonies, trinkets, toys, all kinds of things, sex toys, all kinds of things are in these boxes. The birthday book, everything. And while the physical evidence, there's only obviously one copy of, there are pictures and copies of the files that former FBI agents have kept in case there needed to be a whistleblower situation, and that international authorities and investigative journalists have kept. So there is like a complete copy of the Epstein files in France.
To think that the United States is the only gatekeeper of these files as well. I mean, like, look at what is happening with the British royal family.
Right.
They've taken away the title and all of the accoutrement of Prince. What's his name? Yes,
Andrew of Windsor, whatever.
Boy, howdy! You don't do that lightly.
No,
especially not the British royal family. I mean, like they are insular; they protect their own.
Well, and
I
William
mean, even the ones they hate.
To be king. William can't wait to be king because he's got more in store for all of the corruption that comes from over there. I think this is more the story of the Epstein files. To me, is a story of millennials' power rising, because for so long, the reason the Epstein files were protected wasn't just to protect the men who committed the sex crimes. It was to protect the donors and the financial class and the ownership class. That's a nonpartisan issue. But where millennials and young Gen X legislators are is we don't have a piece of that at all anyway. Fuck it. I don't know if I can swear on your show, but like,
yes, you can. Totally fine.
Let them have it. Let them have it. I don't care. None of these people are my donors. I don't know these folks. I'm just as much a part of the oppression of the elite who were doing the Epstein files and many other things to hoard power for themselves. So put it out, blow it up, whatever. And I think that is where we're at with Prince William, and that's where we're at with the American government right now. Millennial legislators like Garcia and Summer Lee are like, I have truly nothing to hide, and I don't care who's in there. I want justice. I want this to be over.
So where we are in this moment in time, both houses of Congress have passed legislation saying these files need to be released. It's going to President Trump's desk. He signed it because he's like, oh,
well, you can't not sign it.
Right. After he pulled Lauren Boebert in to be like, you know, you need to recant, you need to take back your vote. After he tried to get his way, he's seeing the writing on the wall and it's like, no, I'm for this. I'm actually for this. Let's totally release this. Hey, friends, let's make sure that my name is redacted. Could you pretty please? Which is where, of course, your information about there's only one, there's not just one copy. It's not out yet. But from what I understand, there should be a searchable database of all of
Courier
this.
News did a searchable database of the emails that came out. And I want to go back to the point you made about Lauren Boebert and Trump threatening her. It needs to not be glossed over that when Donald Trump was looking for people to change their vote from yes, release the files to no, he chose the two women in Congress who are rape survivors and domestic abuse survivors. He didn't choose any of the male Republicans to shake them down for their vote. He brought in women who were previously in a bad situation, one way or the other, and he tried to intimidate them again. And that is who this man is.
I want to talk about one of the other women, not Lauren Boebert, but who has gotten a lot of headlines and made some, had some kind of road to, I don't know. Listen, do I think that she's had a road to Damascus moment? No. But she's publicly cosplaying as somebody that's had a road to Damascus moment, and that's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, MTG. She's got a rebrand.
Okay. So from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, she's representative in the House. She wanted to run for Senate. The scuttlebutt is that the current president was like, absolutely not. You're staying in the House. I will not endorse this. And she has basically been on a revenge tour, is from what I understand. So the moves that I've seen make sense up to that point. I have to say, I am personally befuddled by the recent revelation that she is resigning effective January 5th. I don't understand that.
Okay.
Do you have any guesses as to why?
I do. So there's the public guesses that are like, oh, she wants to run for president, or she really is America's
I don't
first,
think she's got. I don't think she's. I don't think that she can't run for president.
I have observed Marjorie Taylor Greene in person many times in rooms or in the Capitol, or just been around when she's around at stuff like. And the thing that I think maybe there's a book we can relate this to. Start thinking about books and movies where this happens to someone. She is very ignored by the Republicans. She is tolerated because she's a soldier for Trump or whatever. But through the last, almost 5 years of her service, if you're in a room with her, let's say it's State of the Union or anything like that, nobody talks to her. Nobody sits with her. Nobody kikis with her. She's typically like thumbing through a magazine or looking at her phone, or she has maybe a staffer with her, but she's not included. She's very ostracized from the party generally, and she is sort of dispatched as a soldier when needed. And you can only do that for so long before you start to feel like, I actually don't have any friends here. Maybe she started going to therapy after her divorce. I don't know. But she realized that she doesn't have any friends here. And so I think this turn is actually for her. And I think it's more about her trying to like reclaim power from the bullies, if that makes sense, because she is sort of bullied by the other Republicans and ostracized by other Republicans. And that's what I actually think it's about. I think she thinks that she will have more power if she runs for Georgia governor, or if she just runs the successful construction business she had. She's sort of like gotten the national profile she needs. She could go host a TV show. She could write a book. She could do a podcast.
See,
she doesn't need to be a congresswoman.
I had put my private chips on she would try to find. She would do the Hillary thing where she finds like a state where she would have a better shot at Senate, like maybe a Minnesota or maybe a New Hampshire or maybe
she was part of dismantling this government. The government is feckless. It has no power. The
What's
Senate
so
and the House
interesting
has no
about
power,
her,
so she doesn't need to be there anymore.
What's so interesting about her is that she has what a lot of the other Republicans don't, which is like name recognition, which is, for good or for ill. Is it great? No, she's the Jewish space lasers lady.
Yeah,
she's the person who has been all in on adrenochrome and QAnon, and she's been all in on all the conspiracy theories, and that's why she's got the name recognition that she does. She doesn't have the reputation of being the brightest crayon in the box. She doesn't have the reputation of being a brilliant interlocutor. She doesn't have the reputation of being this brilliant legislator, but she does have the reputation of being very, very loud and good at getting attention. And that is what a lot of other politicians don't have and kind of wish they did.
She'll go do a nonprofit that's about deconstructing the false promises of MAGA, right? I mean, she's on that grift. It's the same type of thing. It's just she's read the tea leaves a little early that MAGA isn't real and that QAnon isn't real. She knows that now. She's had access to power for enough time to know that that's not real. And it's hard to keep that up. It's hard to be hateful. So she could go get a bunch of money from somebody to start whatever the next America First is. I don't think that she's going to become a Democrat by any means. I mean, she calls them demon rats. She will go
I read that
more the Nick Fuentes way.
I was going to say,
more extreme.
I read that. I read her resignation letter, that 4-page letter. And I was like, the first page, I was like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
And what did she do with Marjorie Taylor Greene? By the time I got to page 3, I was like, oh, there she is.
There she is.
There you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
she's hitching her wagon to the next big, I genuinely believe that she is a white supremacist, America First person, genuinely in her heart of hearts. And she's going to go to where she thinks she can maybe have a greater leadership space to exact that vision for America.
Do you think that the election results from this November are a good sign for Dems, or was it a fluke?
Depends. I think it's a good sign for people. I think that the Democrats are owed no accolades for these successes whatsoever. I think you look at Working Families Party or the Democratic Socialists Association, stuff like that. They're the ones who did this.
I love that you so correctly pointed out immediately that it was like, okay, well, the people that because almost immediately in the Senate, those Dem senators that sided with the Republic. I mean, it's so clear that Schumer was orchestrating something behind the scenes to.
No, so the Democrats, capital D, no, they're owed no, like they did nothing to help. In fact, I am at least
heartened that Nancy is retiring. That's something. I feel like that's something.
Realizes that Congress has no power anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to see potentially a bunch of Republican Congress people, they've either decided they're not going to run, or maybe they're going to leave earlier than their term is up or whatever. It's going to be a wild time, but Congress gave its power to the executive, and Senate gave its power to the executive, and the Supreme Court gave its power to the executive. And now it's got to be about rebuilding at the state and local level until we can restructure what the federal level looks like.
Were you as surprised as other people seem to be that Obergefell was safe? Or
Obergefell is safe,
right?
I'm not actually down with that, and I worry about the way that it gets presented because Democrats are so eager to be like, we have a win.
Sure.
The Kim Davis case was never going to be the one that took out marriage equality. What the plan is, and what I've talked about a million times, is their ability to define marriage as between one man and one woman so that gay marriages no longer qualify for federal benefits and rights inherent to marriage. So things like you have to do estate planning, right? We did the 9 documents that recreate a marriage at prideplans.com.
We did that. As soon as we saw that Supreme Court case, we were like, well,
so
we've been putting some stuff off for a while.
Yep.
I sold some books this year. Let me pony up and pay a lawyer and spend all that money and get all that paperwork and patch it all together just in case. We assumed. I mean, we genuinely assumed.
It's not over. It's not over.
For sure.
Not at all. They're getting you sort of like your guard down, and then they're going to stab you in the heart, I feel like.
I mean, there's no law protecting it. There's no constitutional amendment protecting it. It is a flimsy Supreme Court decision, which used to mean something, and then Roe was overturned, and now we've realized how frail all of these rights that are given by the executive are.
Yeah, my marriage is a trust and a living will that I have with my wife, and a parental directive and a pet directive, and financial paperwork. It's 160 pages is my marriage.
Yeah.
A lot of people get a marriage certificate that's one. Mine is 160 pages. And we did that because I was like, we have to. This is where we are. Because the attack will actually come on the definition of marriage. This is where the Federalist Society gets involved with the Supreme Court and these conservative judges, and what's the original word mean in the Constitution, these like constitutional originalists and whatnot. And they're going to say, to be recognized and to have all the rights inherent to marriage, it can only be between one man and one woman.
I don't think we're out of it.
Not trans people, not non-binary people, not anybody, right?
And that is, I think, an important caveat in every discussion of marriage equality is trans rights and the rights and rights for disabled people. Because, when same-sex marriage equality came around, people were still reluctant to discuss, well, this doesn't fix marriage equality. There's no equity. Marriage doesn't actually,
That's why I don't call it marriage equality. I call it gay marriage, because
there you
go. Win equality.
Correct.
For interfaith, for disabled folks, for international marriages and things. There's no equality.
Let's pull it back. Big stuff this year. What were some overarching themes of 2025? What are some cycles that we saw? Was there anything that you gave note? Like, was there anything that kept coming up? Was there anything that you thought was going to be a big theme that just fizzled out and wasn't?
So something that I think is a word, if there was like a most used word of 2025, it'd be authenticity, right?
See, I thought
Everybody
you were going to
wanted
say
to be
6'7".
authenticity. 6'7" in authenticity. And I think that people have misused it to mean something you can perform. And I think that authenticity is something that occurs against all odds. So if we look at them being like, well, we're canceling all DEI stuff, right? And they did that. They got rid of all the DEI, they got rid of everything. The organizations that still rose to the top are those who are led by what that side of the aisle might consider DEI, right? So the Working Families Party is run and executive leadership by a Black gentleman. He's a fucking incredible. He's an awesome, or he's awesome, right? And they try to get rid of him, but you can't, because he's actually the best person for the job. And your false sense of white supremacy that, oh, if we get rid of all the Black and gay and disabled people, then there'll be all this room for white supremacy to rise, just quite simply wasn't true. So you look at Democracy Forward, which is led by a woman. You look at the Democratic Socialists, which is a multinational organization. The people who rose into authentic resistance of corruption are the ones that I think are the big heroes of this year and have seen massive success that don't fit into the way that the news is used to reporting on people and the way that the government has become complacent in authoritarianism. So those are some good things, I think.
I agree. Was there anything like culturally that surprised you, shocked you, was a little harrowing? Anything?
In-person events. I'm so used to being on the internet and like that being where I live and not having to leave my house really. And people want in-person events. Yes. They want community. They want to put their phone down. They want to play a board game, build crafts. And I know there's always been some interest in that, but it's doing it together now that makes a big difference. I think we're starting to learn how to bump into our friends and neighbors and even people we don't like without it becoming triggering, right? It's like, no, this is part of what we're doing.
So I wrote that book. I don't know if that was a little tease inroad to get to talk about it, but I very much agree with you. So I wrote this book, Where Did Everybody Go? Why We're Lonely But Not Alone, all about loneliness and the loneliness epidemic and what loneliness is, and talking about how loneliness is this biological imperative telling us to seek out other people, because we learned somewhere way back up the evolutionary line that we survive better when we go at life in groups. And while we are lonelier than ever before, what that's also doing is making us more hungry than ever before for in-person community, for connection of some kind. And I have to tell you that this is the first year in a long time that my last 2 books came out during the pandemic. So I didn't get to do anything except like a Zoom call or something. And this is the first year I've gotten to like go out into and people are showing up. People want to be in one another's presence. People want to be in community. People want to hang out. People want to see one another. I've had more friends like drop in, like, hey, what do you do? Like, I've done more like
phone calls. I've been getting actual phone calls from friends who are like, hey, you got a minute to chat? And I'm like, yeah, let's chat.
Those days where it's just, what are we doing today? Errands. We're going to go pick up dry cleaning and walk through an antique store and get a little drink and get a little coffee drink.
The nerds are having a revival, and I love that for us. Tabletop gaming, LARPing, cons, all that kind of stuff has become so much more accessible and so much more prevalent that it's good and bad, right? My secret little nerd spaces are being popularized, which is always, it comes at a risk, but if you think about how many people are playing tabletop games like D&D and whatnot,
this is the year that I'm like
hours and days.
I'm obsessed. I had never played D&D before, and I am all in, very obsessed. Have lots of friends in it. Yeah. And then I even got to design. I even got to design a D&D one-shot campaign based off the Verity Vox books, and that's coming out. I did it with like a bunch of friends from X-Men '97 and stuff. So it's like, I know
fun.
it's
fun is back.
Fun is back. People crave joy. People crave whimsy, I think.
Yeah, and creativity. And like, I heard this thing that Gen Z doesn't dance because they're afraid of getting videotaped and everything. And I was like...
So that, and also they don't give one another nicknames.
Oh, they don't. Oh.
They don't give one another nicknames because they're afraid that it's going to come up later in a job. That like they don't dance because that might end up on the internet, and they don't give one another nicknames because that might impact being able to be hired later on if somebody if an employer hypothetically Googles you and it's like, this is Tits McGee or whatever. I don't know.
It's not Rocket Don. Did you have nicknames growing up? Did you have any other than the
Well,
F slur, which we all
I was going to
endured?
say I was extremely bullied, so I don't know that my nicknames were. My name is just Dawn. Like, it's not even short for anything, so I think that was already in and of
They were like,
itself.
that's enough.
Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did. My friends used to call me the Empire because no matter, I am a chatty
Hate you.
person. They called me the Empire because no matter what you needed, I probably knew somebody and was willing to introduce you to them to like make that thing. So there was this idea of like V's Empire, especially through college. I was very good at like connecting people to stuff they needed.
I will say the only nickname, and I really hope my mom doesn't listen to this episode, the only nickname that I ever really had was in college. They called me the spatula because I could turn them.
How's it feel to be God's favorite, Don? That's what I'm going to call you. That's my nickname for you. God's favorite, Don Martin. You little cutie.
Yeah. I was a good Christian boy.
I always wanted a cool nickname, like for somebody to call me, like, I don't know, Diggs, or like something cool, like some cool.
Yeah,
like,
I knew a guy in college that we called Skeens. That was like a play on his last name, and like,
well, we had bad nicknames
I never
too.
got those.
I have a friend, Ryan, who we called Skeeter because he was tiny like a mosquito. And it was really fun all growing up. But then when he got married, we couldn't call him Skeeter anymore because he was like, it's really emasculating to me and my wife. And I was like, all right, great.
I grew up with a guy whose actual name was Doyle.
Oh, wow. Doyle rules.
Oh, Doyle rules, yes.
Yep.
We called him Ryan.
Yeah.
I did not know that Doyle was Ryan wasn't a middle name. It wasn't anything. Everybody called him Ryan. That was what he put on his, that's what he put on his school papers. That's what was on his Letterman jacket.
At graduation, there were kids that crossed the stage and I was like, Jessica. I don't know what Jessica. We call you Chelios. Or Megan. We call her Vaughn. I thought Vaughn was her last name for the longest time. It was not. It was Conhini. Megan Conhini has nothing to do with Vaughn.
Yeah.
See, then I went to college and we got pledge names and I loved that. I know it's technically hazing.
I'm sorry, you were at a sorority?
Oh, yes. I was in a sorority.
I now need every detail. Did you have colors? What were your colors?
Red and gray. So, and our flower was the carnation. And our symbol was the dove. And our slogan was, no one is a stranger, just a friend you haven't met yet. But I loved sorority.
God, it was one of those sororities.
No, it really wasn't.
Did you have a dance? Did y'all have a dance?
No. The sorority
was
Are there
famous.
Videos? Oh my God, I was going to say this. So first it was on Staten Island. So it was Toughies. It was the theater girl sorority, but it was the theater bad girl sorority. And we were famous for our parties and for, we had a lot of, it was a ski lodge on A2. It was just a lot of powder fresh snow every day on A2. So we funded the sorority, thanks to Debbie's brother who would bring us
Debbie's brother.
Fresh powdered sugar cookies from Boston
thanks Debbie's brother
to sell at our bake sales. And then that was our philanthropy. I was in a bad girl sorority and my pledge name was Puck.
You are a Puck.
Yes. And
you are a
Puck.
I
was like Puck, like from Midsummer's Night Dream or from Real World. And they were like both. And I was like, okay, great.
I was also in Midsummer Night's Dream. Would you like to guess which character I played?
Bottom. No.
That is correct. And I won Best Actor.
I bet you did.
With my little ass ears. Yeah.
I know. I was Puck. The sorority was bad girl sorority. Now it's very nice girls.
Our sororities and fraternity. I was never in one. But I saw all the movies. Big fan. Are they as gay as they're portrayed in queer media? Okay.
Oh my God.
Good.
First of all, the more
I would be so disappointed
heterosexual they present, like the more they present as the stereotype of their gender, be that like super frat boys or super, super femmy girls, the more gay they are.
Good.
Yeah.
I was really nervous there for a second that you were going to be like, no, everybody is tragically straight and on their knees praying to Jesus.
No, not mine. Okay. No, they were very bad. So we were Teak little sisters, but we had the identical pledge program to the Teaks, which if you are Teak, then it's hazing. It's straight up hazing. But then we became Tau Kappa Sigma because we got our own local charter. So when I pledged, I was Tau Kappa Sigma, but I was still running on a Teak pledge program.
What are you looking forward to most in 2026? What are you anticipating? What's some
Never
guesses?
having to pledge again. Never. um, I'm looking forward to more of this optimism that I'm seeing from people that feels like it's coming from a genuine space. I think we've seen a lot of national optimism, and national politics have sort of like driven the agenda and the culture. And now I think I'm seeing much more of like here in Rochester, there's a couple little groups where people just write on threads or in Facebook. They're like, hey, I'm going to go to Cafe Sasso and knit if anybody wants to stop by, and like, you know, like 8 or 10 people stop by, and I think that that's meaningful. So I'm looking forward to more of that, just people putting themselves out there to be like, you know what, even if it is cringe, I want friends, and so I'm gonna do it.
I wanna embrace the cringe in
Yeah,
2026. I genuinely think that it's time for us to
we
embrace the
have
cringe.
to.
I
Yeah, it's
do.
millennial time, we're bringing back cringe
Listen.
and business casual in the bars. That's what we
Yeah.
need.
Yeah, I need cringe. I want to be cringe, and I want to be free. I
Yes,
I don't.
please.
I'm not too cool. I never was. I think life is better when
Dance,
you are
dance in the
yourself.
bar,
For the
dance in the
love of
bar,
God, would
dance
you put
everywhere. You
on
must
your
dance.
6-inch Jessica Simpson platform shoes
Please.
and spray on some Britney Spears? What was
Slick
that
the
one perfume that was
ponytail,
so
put in
good?
a butterfly clip. Yes.
And
Oh my God.
and
The
get
Britney
on a
Spears
speaker and
perfume.
dance when your
What
peplum
was that
skirt.
perfume? Oh my God. I can smell it right
I
now.
don't know. There was another one that was like something apple, and it was really good.
Fantasy.
Yes,
Curious.
yes.
Curious.
I will say
Curious was the one.
my favorite millennial scent that like is like such a sense memory for me is Victoria's Secret, and it was the purple bottle. Or was it Bath and Body?
Sunripe
Love
and
Spell.
raspberry.
Love
Love
Spell.
Spell. Love Spell was Victoria's Secret. So I worked at Bath and Body Works in the holiday seasons in high school and college.
So
And since
you
it
were
is
a
the
cucumber
holiday
melon
season,
girly.
well, when I worked there, it was 1998 to 2002. I worked at Bath and
Okay,
Body Works, which I think is the high time. Okay, this is
sure.
also
Oh yeah,
Abercrombie and Fitch was across the street
yeah.
from us, like across the little
So
mall,
you could smell
and
it.
this,
Yes.
yes, and so we would have competing scents and
Mm-hmm.
Yankee Candle and everything. But the boys didn't wear shirts, and they wore the Santa outfits that one Christmas.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
turns out, yeah, that was in the
Good times.
documentary. Was not so great, but in my little town, it was fine. Everybody was fine. So I worked at Bath and Body Works. It was my favorite job I ever had, and I could like tell what kind of girl you were based on what your scent was. So like
Mm.
cucumber melon, classic,
Yeah.
what we might call the clean girl
Yep.
aesthetic these days.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you had like sunripe and raspberry. This is obviously for your aunt or your mom. Moonlit Path was a hot one. That was like a hot sister one. It was like the companion to Love Spell. If you came in and you got warm vanilla sugar, you're a
Oh.
hoe.
Yeah.
You're a hoe. Warm
Yeah.
vanilla
That's
sugar
body
was the
butter. That's
sexiest
yeah.
scent.
Yeah.
No teenager should have had this scent.
No.
This was for
It's good.
adults. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I
love
love the
that.
love spell. Fun fact: I tried to apply at Abercrombie, and the manager looked me up and down, and he said, "The job is called model for a reason."
Done. First of all, how did you not get? You're so handsome, bastards.
Well,
If it makes you feel any better, all the Abercrombie boys I knew that worked there were short. So maybe
I
we're
will
just too
say I didn't
tall.
start looking like this until I was like
Until later?
35. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
My brother worked at Abercrombie, and he got
Oh.
to take the show, and he was
What is
all
your
ripped.
What is
And
your brother's first name?
it rhymes. We have
Oh
rhyming
my God, I
names.
love it. Okay, perfect. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, what if your brother's first name is like Christopherlopoulos or something, like
No,
some long name, short name?
no,
Got it.
no.
Okay,
It
perfect.
rhymes. We
Good.
and my mother said that she would go to the bottom of the stairs and yell, like if she just needed somebody to do something and she didn't care who, like she needed somebody to take out the trash, she'd go to the bottom of the stairs and yell up on,
Oh boy, I love that for her.
and whoever answered
Yeah,
was
that was you.
the lucky boy,
It
the
was your
lucky
time.
boy that
Just
got to
a
do the
brother you have,
task.
or more siblings?
I also have a sister.
Oh, great. I have a
Yeah.
sister and a brother too. Are you the oldest or youngest, or where you at?
It depends on which side of the family you're
I
on. My sister's
see.
my half sister,
I
and
see.
she's
Okay.
older and much older.
I bet she's really cool. I am the oldest, so I was the boss of everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up the oldest, and I very
Yeah.
much have like oldest child,
Yeah,
like
you
takes
do.
care of everybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Siblings at the holidays. You know what? I didn't have the cousins that went on weed walks or anything, though. We were just all
I
sort of
didn't.
like
I
stuck
was
together.
maybe
Yeah.
my cousins do that.
We
I've
were
never been
such
invited.
goodies. No, we were all little goodies. There was only one Christmas where we went to my grandma's house and she was like, no liquor this year. Nobody's having liquor because I'm sick of it. You people just, you drink too much and you're not allowed. And we were adults. I remember we all came over and we were just sitting there. And my grandma comes out of the kitchen and she's like, oh, for Christ's sake, just go down and get whatever they got. This is a terrible party. And I was like, well, there's no booze, Graham. And all the liquor stores were closed. So all we could get was Bailey's. For some reason, my brother had like a handle of Bailey's at the house.
Oh, dear.
And, that was the sickest Christmas
that does not a holiday party make.
No. That was the sickest Christmas we ever had. So if you're listening to this and it's almost Christmas, make sure you hit up the package store. You don't want to be stuck with what is in your brother's basement.
No, you don't.
And like old Tullamore Dew. My grandpa had like one bottle of like Tullamore Dew from the war or something. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite like science fact that you learn, or a new scientific discovery, or a new gadget that came out this year that like has revolutionized your life? Like any like, what's a cool new niche sciencey thing that has like you just loved it, you can't stop thinking about?
So I got a drone off the TikTok shop. It's like
Scared
a drone
of the TikTok
for making
shop.
content.
I'm like, if I buy really literally anything off the TikTok shop, someone somewhere is going to have all my data. Not that they don't already, but like,
I know. So I think that that's been really fun. But as far as like daily gadgets, I love a single-use kitchen gadget. My kitchen is full.
Alton Brown hates to see you coming.
Full of somebody compared. I was at an interview the other day and they were like, so you're kind of like Alton Brown. I was like, I'm nothing like Alton Brown. Okay.
Alton Brown notoriously hates single-use kitchen gadgets.
No, I
like he
love
sees
them.
a strawberry picker, and I think he like goes into a rage.
I have to have it. I have a lemon cutter. I have the strawberry picker. I have the tomato knife. I have the little thing that reseals your bag. I have the little thing that
Does that work?
I
kind of want one.
Oh, it's good.
I kind of want one.
I'm amazed by it every time. And now anytime we open a bag, my wife knows to leave it open.
Now, is it the vacuum bag or is it the heat in it?
It's just a little heat thing.
The heat thing in it for the chip bags?
Good stocking stuffer for people if you're running out.
I want one.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Does it work on cereal bags?
It does. Yes. It's quite lovely.
Okay. See, I might need one because my husband apparently comes from the land of we don't roll the bag up after we eat cereal. So
Heathen.
We've had fights.
Where did he grow up?
He was born in Mexico, and I don't know if it's like a cultural thing or if it's just he's a guy and his mom picked
so
up
we
behind
had
him.
to, or the ants would get in. That's why I think of it. I'm like, we have to, or the bugs would get in.
Yeah.
Not that I grew up in a house of bugs. I'm just saying these are things that happen. Mm-hmm. Don't you think if you had cereal open, that'd be scary. Yeah, but it'll work on that.
I want that. I need that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need it. I learned that we are making night vision contacts. They're a night vision.
I thought I wanted a windshield that was my glasses prescription, but that would. Why would I want that?
Wouldn't that mean everybody else in your car got headaches all the time?
Yeah, obviously. It's a dumb idea. It's a dumb idea, but sometimes not all the ideas are good.
I will say the scariest science thing is obviously the vast quickness with which we are evolving AI. That terrifies me.
Companion robots. I am not here for that.
Oh my God. Why does it have boobs? Why did it have? Why does it have boobs? Why did we make boob bot?
This is like because some people have to touch the boob bot to know that it's not going to love them back. Okay, these people are creating you could tell them a million times that an AI girlfriend or a boob bot is not going to give you the satisfaction of human connection. That is something that is dopamine is triggered. There's a chemical thing to it. Humanity has relied on it for all of these years. They want to touch the boob bot and just make sure. So what are we going to do?
I don't like it. And as a creative person, I'm just like, why do we need to be able to push button? I mean, I understand that, AI has with the new nano banana or whatever, the new images that it can make and even the videos are pretty undetectable. It can create such photorealistic images that if you do not know, or you are not extremely skilled at spotting AI, which it sucks that you basically have to be an expert. Why? Why do we want this? I mean, I hate it. I'm very against it. I don't want to use
button art in the past, remember? And it always ends up at the junk store. So I have the same hopes that people will do the AI and they'll be like, I think this doesn't give me satisfaction.
I am heartened. I am gladdened by, the finance and tech world being very nervous about the AI bubble bursting, because everybody does seem to hate it.
I hate it.
But I'm just like, unfortunately, there are enough people that still love it or still love the idea of what it can do, that I'm just like, you have to now be suspect of every image that you see for the rest of it's the genie's all the way out of the bottle. We have to now be suspect of everything we ever see forever and ever and ever. Not that we didn't have to before, but like now it's just so easy to create misinformation. I mean, like that photo of Bill and Donald looks really troublingly real.
I choose to believe it. They choose to believe that Black pilots are less talented, and I choose to believe that photo is real. Okay, they get to choose to believe all kinds of things. I want to start to choose to believe stuff too.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit. I've always wanted to pick your brain, and I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum. I've always wanted to pick your brain about this space that you and I both occupy, though from kind of different angles. The democratization of news and entertainment and infotainment. We both kind of occupy that space from different angles. We both take on, different aspects, of informing people, entertaining people, occupying the space of kind of like citizen journalists or whatever. What are the pitfalls of existing in that space? How do we navigate those pitfalls? Why do you think people do and don't trust independent journalists? And what advice do you have for people to spot a good or bad
one? Good stuff. First, I think that people look at news as answers, and it's not answers. It's stories, and it's curiosity, and it's facts that get strung together in a longer form, which is why I don't do breaking news, because when breaking news comes out, all you have is sort of like a warning sign. You don't have facts yet. You don't have answers yet.
We just heard this happened from these people. Yes.
Right. We don't even know if that's true, right?
Correct.
That thing has even happened. It's just somebody said it, somebody printed it, you got to look at the motivations of the original legacy media source for a lot of folks that they're using on TikTok, which is that like that legacy world is used to, they've trained their customers and readers to be like collective readers. So like if you look at how the New York Times does breaking news, they'll have the story and then they'll mark almost in a feed 303 Russia receives a plan, 305 this happens, to make it clear to you that there is a history here and that it is going somewhere, that we're not done, these are the facts we have, we're in the gathering phase. Where on the internet, when we do breaking news, people see that as the done story. They might not see your second video, your part 2, part 3, part 4. And so then people go about thinking that they have all the information, that they somehow know the story. And then when the story updates or changes, unfortunately for that person who has done it as breaking news final story, oftentimes the audience is like, well, you just said this other thing and now that turned out to not be true. Why should I trust you? And it's because they haven't trained the audience to understand breaking news is not news. So
I think I just want to stay on that point for just a second longer. I think that was something that so many people, I know I had to talk about it. I know you talked about it ad nauseum, especially during the pandemic, talking about how science works.
Yeah.
And that it was like, well, you all said this thing last month and you're saying this thing this month. Yes, because when we have new information, we correct it. Science is not a search for the definitive answer. It is a search to understand and contextualize as best we can. And when we get better or new information, we innovate, we correct, and move forward. It's about the scientific method, and using that method as methodology improves. We are going to continue to get more and more refined answers. And sometimes those answers contradict information that we used to think was true.
Right.
We used to be very, 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 very sure that the Earth was the center of the solar system.
Right.
For many hundreds of years, we burned people for saying otherwise. And, we learned better and we do better. And, when you learn better how a virus acts, when you learn better how a vaccine works, when you learn better how different people react to it, when you learn that Tylenol doesn't cause autism, you correct that record and you move forward and you explain why. And the problem is that the general public just wants what's the truth? No, but you told us.
They're trained for that. So if we look at the two generations that struggle the most with digital literacy, let's call it, when it comes to news. It's the older generation of people, let's say like older Gen X and older, and Gen Z and younger. And so older Gen X and older is used to the news actually being the final story, right? Because it
Yes.
came on 5, 11 o'clock, and they weren't doing breaking, flashing news.
Yeah.
So like folks like my dad will be like, can you just tell me the story when it's done? I don't want to hear all this like all the way. Every 5 minutes you're interrupting me with another story. Just tell me. I'll catch you at 11 and tell me what happened. So there's that generation that's experiencing news, and now this digital world is changing what the way that's delivered. And then the younger generation has been trained to get information in a panicked way to answer a question on a test. There is
Mm-hmm.
one correct answer. And so when they hear something, they're like, I need to know that because that's the fact for the test. And then when you challenge that, it breaks their whole brains and worldviews because they've been trained that there is one answer. And so that's where I think it gets a little tricky. And that's why with my channel, we really try to say this is like a curiosity led content space where at 7 p.m. I'm going to say, here's what happened. It's Monday
Mm-hmm.
night, and here's what happened. And I only report what happened that day,
Mm-hmm.
not what's going to happen, not if we're halfway through. And then when I do a story that's got multiple parts, I say, here's where we're at right now, but wait, because you're sort of training the audience into knowing that they have to come back, or setting their brain, which is in relax mode when we're on our phone, we're
Mm-hmm.
looking for escape or relax, to say, okay, I'm not going to internalize that, make a little brain wrinkle yet. I'm just going to put that folder over here with the other little facts that go with that story.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly were not made, like our brains are not built to take in this much like this much
No.
changing information this quickly. But I do think you and I occupy similar veins of like kind of showing people how to think. Like I
Yeah.
also don't, I don't in my nonfiction work, in when I do those like, longer video deep dive stuff, I'm not necessarily saying here's the definitive conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's here are the questions that you should be asking, and here are the best available answers to those questions. But here are the next set of questions that you should be, I mean, like teaching people how to think, teaching people critical thinking skills,
Mm-hmm.
which we aren't doing as much anymore. And if you teach somebody how to think and how to ask good questions and what good and bad information looks like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the better version of trying to keep up with this constant cycle, because I can kind of look at something and say, something about this just feels off. Let me go ask more questions. And I can also look at something and say, this feels like it comes from an informed place. Not only because I'm chronically informed. I was, like I'm like, oh, I cut back on my daily news, and I'm like, well, a friend the other day asked me, well, how much news do you take in? Well, only like 3 NPR podcasts a day. And then plus two, I do that. Of course, I do PBS NewsHour every day, the full
And who you
hour. And then,
follow,
of
and
course I do.
yeah.
And they're like, that seems like a lot of news. And I'm like, I don't think that you understand how much I used to take in.
I know. You're not supposed to know this much stuff. And for people
Yeah.
who are creators, you're not supposed to look at your face this often. There's a
No.
certain, like, I think that's the hardest part of the job is we were not made to stare at our own faces as often as we are. You were supposed to like catch your reflection in a pond a couple times in your life. And here we are constantly, this close to your face doing it. That's one of the hardest things. But, as a consumer or as a person who might be trying to get into content, you got to know that this is a business, and people are running a business where they are delivering news as the product from different angles. Like mine is from an education space. That's what I value. That's what I position myself as. That's the work that I do, is in like education, and now what we might consider academia and traditional journalism line, and then like opinion line. And then you have people who want to be famous, and this is their avenue to fame because they're like, I can fucking read the Associated Press breaking news line
And
every
then
day too.
and then go post on Threads breaking some
Right.
words, and then there's not even a source underneath. And I'm
Right.
like,
So they can do that. And their idea is like, well, I want to be famous. So I will use being a news communicator, science communicator, any number of things, creative content, to get myself enough of a platform that I could either try to get into movies or linear television or whatever the case may be. But this is not where they live. This is my house. I own this house. I will always be in this house. And so I want to make sure when you come here, I'm not like trashing the place because I know I've got another house I'm going to move to next, right? So I think you got to look at people's motivations when you're deciding who to follow, and noting that some people are just really entertaining. Doesn't mean they're right, It's okay.
I will say there is this idea, and I try to talk about it very often because I do write nonfiction. You also write nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
That nonfiction news is what, like, basically fact checking.
Yeah.
If you read it in a book, if you read it in a newspaper, if you see it on a news site, and what we are considering a news site has expanded greatly in the last like 15, 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
that it is automatically true because the assumption from people is that someone somewhere fact checked this.
Right. Or that we can trust the source. We can trust what the president of the United States has issued as a statement, and we cannot. We are full of unreliable narrators.
Correct. There is I will just say, as from a nonfiction perspective, most books, most of the time, are not fact checked. The publisher is assuming that the author is going to do it. And the thing is, if there is a bunch of misinformation, it's the author that's going to get sued. The publisher is going to be just fine.
Right. Yeah, they don't care. They're
no,
like, oh,
they don't care.
Good.
I'm very lucky, and then I got a fact checker, but also I asked for that.
We have a researcher for my book that comes out October of this coming year. And
I was going to say, I thought yours was out already.
No. Because it's not perfect. It has to be perfect, and they keep changing shit. And so we have a researcher.
When it's ready, I want to read it. Let me blurb it.
Harvard who are going to look at it. Because I was more willing to push the publish date out from April to October than to have it be wrong at all in any possible way, because I won't be able to fix the book the way I could fix a video.
For sure.
So I was panicked. I was so scared. So we've moved into using like historic events as parallels to today's events, so that we're not, you have to be diligent, and a lot of them are.
Yeah, I spent years researching for like, where did everybody go? Spend years researching, and then I go into like some of those experts that I really like, but I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. I go and interview those experts, and then those are the quotes that I'm using in the books.
Dies, Don. You're fucking
no.
Yeah, the person you want to like interview passes away, and you have to write that whole section again.
Can I tell you? And he's never going to see this because he doesn't care. Robert Putnam is a scholar and sociologist, and he wrote the book Bowling Alone.
Yeah.
Seminal classic of discussions of loneliness and third places and gathering and the suburbanization of America and all of that. I was like, he's never going to say yes. But we both have the same publisher, and I was like, could you maybe ask if I could interview him? Yeah. Because I was like, I tried to email and I didn't get a response. So my people reached out to his people, and they were like, I'm so sorry, he doesn't do interviews anymore. Yeah. He's just quietly retired. The very next week, I turn on my TV and I see that he's doing an interview with oh God, I stopped listening to this podcast mostly out of spite. With the 5 white guys, Pod Save America.
Oh, he was on there.
Yeah, he was on Pod Save. And I was like, okay, I guess you do interviews if you're famous enough. I'm not famous enough, I guess. So he'll never read my critique of his work, I guess.
We wrote a whole segment about one of the chapters is called Cruelty is Contagious, and it talks about like when I learned to not be mean, and it had to do with the first and only time I ever bullied somebody in 3rd grade. And I wrote like this whole thing, and then I was like, what if that girl recognizes that this is her, and like she doesn't want to be my lesson? People are going to go looking for her and bully her again, maybe. And so we had to take it all out. I'm so paranoid about this book. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I will say that's why like I don't like, my family doesn't go on social media. My husband has never appeared online.
No, I never put the family on.
No, I don't. I don't ever talk about like
events with me because I don't want.
I've described my home.
So.
I've described the town I grew up in, but I never name it. I never name I'm just like, I don't want to drag these people into my online life.
You never know what somebody's going to say or do. And like when I have to do work events and stuff, I take Sammy, because Sammy knows everybody in the room and is also an author and publisher and knows what she's doing. And it's like, work the room, girl. Anytime you bring your spouse or your kids or anything into your work, it's like, I don't know. It's like when you were a kid and you would see a teacher out of school, you're like, you're not supposed to be here. Like it's like 2 different worlds. Like you're not supposed to be here. It's too vulnerable. Yeah.
Okay, let's do some fun stuff. Let's do some just rapid fire, fun, best of 2025, fun things. What's the best movie you saw this year? You don't get to say Wicked.
Oh, God, it wasn't even Wicked. You know what? I haven't been to the movies in so long. I don't know. I saw House on Eden, which was a indie self-produced female-run horror film at
Uh-huh.
VidCon, and it was really good with Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo. They
I
did a great job.
saw when I thought about this, the very first thing that came to mind, and the only thing that I'm going to say because it still feels true, is Black Bag. Have you
I've not seen
seen?
it. No.
Okay, so Black Bag is like a return to really good thrillers.
Mm,
It has Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender in it,
very
and
nice.
it's just my husband and I went to go see it in a theater,
I
and
love a
it's just
theater.
it's an adult sexy, makes you think. The twists are twisty. It's smart. It's
Yep.
sexy. It's British.
I love a
Like
British. Yeah, there it is.
I love a spy. I love a spy chase spy versus spy thriller, and it just did. It scratched all those Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but like
Yeah.
British and grown up and not as splashy itches that
I
I
watch a
was.
lot of shit. I watch a lot of
Yeah.
Hallmark movies. I liked Holiday
Yes.
Touchdown, A Bill's Love Story. That might be the best movie I saw this
I
year.
will tell you that we are currently watching, speaking of Hallmark, we are currently watching Finding Mr. Christmas, which has apparently become our annual tradition.
It is what it is.
Yep. We are who we are.
We love a
Yes.
Hallmark movie.
You have a favorite TV show that you watched or something you rewatched, a
So I don't
favorite?
watch
Something?
modern TV. I watch
Okay.
reality TV like 90 Day Fiance and Sister Wives and all that trash. But we rewatched this year Heart of Dixie, um, Greek, we Arrested Development, and Frasier. So we rewatch the old
Really?
shows because I find them so much easier to pay attention to.
I rewatched Cheers, but that was also like
Oh,
for
yeah.
work. Like
Yeah.
that was as
Hmm.
research because but I did end up, but because of the research for the book, I did spend a good chunk of this year watching TV shows like about third places, like that were kind of about third places, about gathering spaces. So there's a lot of Cheers in there,
Hmm.
and you have a lot of lovely nostalgia for like meeting places. We
Hmm.
did also start rewatching Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Us too.
Home
Yes.
Improvement, and a few Golden Girls as
Sabrina
well.
holds up. Sabrina holds
Well,
up.
every now and then I'm like, so
But it
glad,
holds up in terms of
but it's
like I
fun.
can now see the joke in what I
Yes.
was like insecure about before. I'm like,
There.
oh, I'm an
Yes.
adult now. Like when you watch a cartoon from your childhood, and
Yes.
you're like, this is disgusting.
There are so many things that I'm like, how did you get away with this in
Ren and
1998?
Stimpy, please.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Favorite song or album? Is there anything you can't stop replaying?
So I am a Broadway girly and I loved Death Becomes Her. So I've been listening to that a lot. I'm not a pop music
So
person.
viscerally upset that we didn't go see it in Chicago
Ugh,
before it went to Broadway when it was
it's
still the original.
phenomenal.
I've heard
So
nothing but
good.
good things, and
So
we
that's my
just never found a
album.
time to
Hmm.
go. And I'm so
And
viscerally upset.
The Great Gatsby on Broadway now, album 2 is very good too.
Oh, I will say for me, it was probably K-pop Demon Hunters.
See, a lot of people like that too.
I was very
People ask me
obsessed.
about a Sabrina Carpenter or a Taylor Swift. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
Oh well,
about.
Taylor,
I did listen to that one. I didn't
Cry
like it,
for
but
Me.
it's
I'm
not
such
for
a
me.
Cry
Yeah,
for
it's
Me.
not
I'm a
for
sad
me.
billionaire.
I know.
It just wasn't. It didn't do it for me. I think
I
that's a
already took
weird.
enough heat for my take on that album. I was like, I don't get it, but it's not for me. So
No, it's kind of like putting out Queen of Versailles on Broadway when people can't afford eggs,
please. Ugh.
with a Charlie Kirk sympathizer in the lead.
Ugh.
And Kristen Chenoweth's Fall from Grace
Bad
was
time. I know.
not on
And
my 2025 bingo card.
to have Cherie Renee Scott as the standby for Kristen Chenoweth right now, just put her in.
Right?
Put Cherie in.
You know what?
Let's
Put
do it.
Jinx Monsoon. Put Jinx in.
Oh my god, I saw Jinx Monsoon in Oh Mary. I don't know. You're going to
I
ask about favorite play. Iconic.
Can I tell you my experience? I put this
Yes.
on social, so this isn't like a surprise for people. It was my first. So one, I got to do a book tour this year for my first book tour ever. We did go to New York. I did a day at the Strand, but I did an extra day because I wanted to like see New York. I'd never been
Yeah.
before. And I did my first Broadway show, and of course it's Oh Mary,
Yep.
and Jinx is a friend. And so she invited me backstage after the show. First of all, Paul Ryan was there, not
Oh,
backstage, in the audience.
oh, he's a queen. We love
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yes,
Ed Monster queen.
it was
Yeah.
so clear that Paul
He's a
Ryan was
queen.
there in the audience, like watching
For
himself.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go backstage, Michael Urie, everybody, Kumail Nanjiani, like everybody's back there. Kumail Nanjiani's got his big pin that says on vocal rest because he like growls and screams, like growls through the whole thing. Michael Urie was there. Everybody could not have been kinder. Jinx walks in with Marcia Gay Harden. I die. I collapse. I fall to the floor. Yep. I will say, I was like, do I take a photo? Am I gonna be a creep? I didn't take a photo of Marcia Gay Harden. I was like, I was like, do I take a creeper? I will say I do have a photo of the moment that Kumail Nanjiani, because Kumail was there and then he left to go do something and he came back and Marcia Gay Harden came and went during that time. Yeah. And I do have a photo of the moment that Kumail Nanjiani realized that he missed Marcia Gay. He's like, she was here. I have that photo.
My God, I love that.
So my very first Broadway show ever. That's pretty iconic. Like the bar is set here now for every future Broadway show. I was invited backstage and just hung out with Jinx Monsoon, Marcia Gay Harden, Kumail Nanjiani, and Michael Urie.
Michael Urie is
so sweet.
Surprise star in that show. I had no idea he was so genuinely talented. And then I look up, he went to Juilliard. I was like, I only ever see him play like the fun gay guy character. Yep. He is outstanding.
Have you seen Shrinking?
No.
Oh, girl. Yes.
I must. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly,
I'll go see it.
Honestly, Apple TV in like between 2022 and now is like the new HBO. Like all the best shows are on Apple TV.
Okay.
It is, if you're going to do a subscription service, there are all hits, no skips. Like you need slow horses in your life. You need loot. You need all of it. Best book you read? Is there anything that you...
The best book I read is Madness by Antonia Hilton, and it chronicles the mental health atmosphere during Jim Crow in Baltimore. And it talks about the Crownsville Asylum and how, like, the way that Black folks were treated so differently from white people when it came to mental health services. And just, it's a fascinating look at a story that is truly never told. Because when you think about, like, turn of the century mental health, going from like tuberculosis hospital to asylum, whatever, I always picture like white Victorian ghosts, I don't picture like people that I would ever encountered. Yeah, I would have ever encountered. And it's just a fascinating story about like Baltimore mental health and Jim Crow era. And I just think she did a phenomenal job with the interviews, and you could tell she was just obsessed with this project. And some of the nurses who worked there were still alive, and she got to interview them, and just talking about lack of resources but still building like strong community and seeing people as a whole person, despite the fact that there was no doctors or anybody who wanted to work there. And like, it was crazy. It was a great book. I did the audiobook for that one in one shot. It was awesome.
I have a few different things that impacted me in different ways. I can finally talk about The Everlasting by Alex Harrow, because I actually read that technically last year for Blurb. Because, when you're not there, like the books I'm reading don't come out for another year or two.
Which is lucky.
It's great.
And then they send you shit like this. Like, when am I going to get to... I got 1929 from Andrew Ross Sorkin. And I was like, baby, it's like 2 of these. I was like, I'm never going to read that.
Yep. So I got The Everlasting, Alex Harrow, brilliant. I, Medusa by Ayana Gray, brilliant. I got to go like scream at her face this past weekend because we had events like right next to each other at the same time in the same place. So then we just met up after afterwards for dinner, and I just was like, you made me hate Athena, and that's really hard to do. And she's like, I know, and I love Athena. And I was like, yeah. Also, I have been rereading, like as a comfort thing in between other stuff, I have been rereading Animorphs by Catherine Applegate.
How interesting.
It is so smart and it holds up. And I think people don't realize that, like, Catherine Applegate said ACAB in book 1, chapter 1 of Animorphs, which was a book ostensibly for 10-year-olds that I don't think would be published for 10-year-olds today. I think it would be called like upper YA today, because it is it is a violent book. It is a political book series. It is
those all the books they gave the millennials. Oh my God. Yes. A Taste of Blackberries ruined my life in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
I can't even.
It is really smart. It is very mature. The pace is incredible. Each book is only like 30,000 words, but like what she can do in that space.
Cool.
She's a genius. And I will say, I think by the time this comes out, I can reveal this cover. You need this. I'm going to make sure that you get a copy of this.
Fun, yeah.
Foundling Fathers by Meg Elison. It's going to come out next 4th of July. It is a radical think tank clones America's founding fathers in this satirical mashup of history, cloning, and technocracy. Gone extremely wrong. I think you would love this.
It's a warning book. Yeah,
it
she's
is.
Dead on.
That's
where we're headed. That's where we're
Best
headed.
trip you took? Anything you did? Did you get to go anywhere fun other than work stuff? Did you get to go anywhere?
No, I go to New York and DC all the time. Those are like the two places I go all the time. Yeah. And so I try to make those fun. I really can't. Colorado, I got to go to Colorado. Boulder, Colorado is so much fun. Mm-hmm. And I've been there a couple times now. In Golden, Colorado, I would say is probably the most fun trip I had. Because I don't usually see like mountains and stuff. Oh, you went to Mexico?
Yeah, my husband and I, we had a family, some of his cousins were getting married. So we got to go down to Merida in Mexico. And I didn't want to come back. I told my boss, I was like,
so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, buddy, I kind of wish that I could be house shopping right now. Anything that you cannot believe that you got to do in 2025 and anything that you're definitely looking forward to getting to do in 2026?
So back to Broadway, I got to spend a lot of time with the cast and crew of Suffs, the musical, which is about the women's
suffragettes.
Yes.
Suffs,
and it's about, just that period of time. And I think that they are just so fucking cool. And
yeah, I heard cool things about that show.
Loved Broadway. Like, when you're backstage, you're like, this is crazy. And I think that was probably something that I never thought I would be able to do that was incredible, and to learn from them and like what went into writing that show and then be able to see the show and everything was just incredible.
What is one habit that you recommend that people get into to survive 2026 and beyond?
Power crying. It's something that I advocate for all the time. It's something that my grandma used to have us do because, there are two things my grandma taught me to do that I remember so specifically learning them. One of them was how to blow my nose. She had no patience for that. So I learned from her how to do that efficiently, and how to power cry, which is like, I often get stuck in my body and my feelings, and I can't like get them out. And I would get so frustrated and I would like pass out from not crying, or I'd just be too upset. And she would be like, just power cry, just scream and cry, hold on to the table if you have to, just let it out. And so I think sometimes when I start to feel myself get stuck in my body and my emotions one way or the other, I've like now found this way to transition into just like hard crying, just like a minute. Then you feel better.
Of all the things, $1,000, 1,000 years, never ever would have guessed that that's where this was going. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm gonna
please get it over with. Just stop this.
Just let it out. Yeah. Let it out. Scream, break things, cry. I love that. Just feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Feel your feelings.
Yep.
I love that. Embrace the cringe. Feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take many naps.
V, thank you so much for being here and wrapping up 2025 with me and saying goodbye to this at times phenomenal. I mean, it was a great year, and also it was a terrible year, and it was a great year again, and it was terrifying.
And we'll be okay. We'll make it.
We will be okay. Thank you so much for being here. If people want to find you, how do they find you? Do they just look under their nearest desk?
Yeah, they look under your nearest desk.
Just under your nearest. Everybody look under your desk right now.
Oh my God, can you imagine? I'm like under there. Under the Desk News everywhere, socials, YouTube, Substack, everywhere. And the book comes out in October. It doesn't have a title yet, but it'll be by V. Spehar. So you'll be able to see that in about 10 months.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.